You've probably seen that famous photo of the 69-year-old truck driver whose left side of his face aged dramatically more than the right after nearly 30 years behind the wheel, with one side of his face exposed to far more sunlight than the other. And if you're a fan of this channel or watched any of my other videos, you've probably heard me say that if you're not wearing sunscreen, all other skincare to make yourself look fresher or less tired is pointless. I thought sunscreen was one of those things I already got my head around, so I never really looked into it. Turns out I was wrong. I completely misunderstood what the SPF number actually measures, why cloudy days can still age your skin, and somehow I'd never realized that SPF doesn't even tell you how well you're protected against UVA, the rays that age your skin. So after trying loads of different sunscreens out there over the past year, here are the SPFs I'd happily spend my own money on again in 2026, and one I absolutely wouldn't. I'm going to share my favorite, most affordable ones that don't leave your skin looking greasy or shiny, my top pick if you've got oily skin, and my go-to mineral SPF at the moment. Korea is of course famous for its sunscreen, and I've got a couple of Korean favorites, along with some French pharmacy bangers, and some affordable ones that you can pick up from Superdrug or Boots. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share my beef with one of those sunscreens out there, which seems to be everyone's favorite at the moment, which I think is not only obscenely overpriced, but also is actively damaging people's skin that buy it, even if some of their products are bloody good. So buckle up because I'm feeling sassy. Oh, and I should say, if we haven't met, hello, I'm Kirk. I'm a skin enthusiast studying to become an advanced qualified facialist and esthetician because I'm that goddamn enthusiastic. My mission is to help people in their 30s and 40s look less tired and more rested without complicated routines or hype. If that's you, I've got a free skin reset guide linked down below that features affordable products that will deliver results from 6 weeks of consistency. And like everything I'm talking about in this video, it's completely unsponsored. Before we go into the products, I'm going to do a quick SPF 101 so you can impress your mates next time you're at the pub. If that doesn't float your boat, you can skip ahead using the bit at the bottom here, but if you can spare the time, and it'll only take a few minutes, it will really level up your skincare game and make choosing the right sunscreen a lot easier. The sun throws three types of UV radiation at us: UVA, UVB, and UVC. We don't need to worry about UVC because the atmosphere filters it out completely before it reaches us. So we only need to think about UVA and UVB. UVA rays cause our skin to age, and UVB rays cause our skin to burn. So when you hear UVA, think aging, and when you hear UVB, think burning. UVA rays go deeper into the skin than UVB rays. They also make up 95% of the UV radiation reaching the Earth's surface, pass through clouds and glass windows, contribute to premature skin aging and pigmentation, and have skin cancer causing potential. UVB rays cause skin burning and reddening, don't penetrate the skin as deeply as UVA, and are responsible for the majority of skin cancers, and are the type of UV radiation that the SPF number measures and blocks, which I found pretty surprising. I just assumed SPF protects you against all types of UV. I didn't realize it only refers to how it protects you from UVB. To know how well a sunscreen protects against the aging rays, UVA, you need to look for the UVA logo or high UVA star rating. SPF 15 blocks 92% of UVB, SPF 30 blocks 97% of UVB, and SPF 50 blocks 98%. 8%. Another thing I only learned recently is that SPF stands for sun protection factor. In lab testing, SPF 15 means it takes about 15 times more UVB to make your skin burn than if you weren't wearing sunscreen. SPF 30 is about 30 times, and SPF 50 about 50 times. But that absolutely doesn't mean you can safely stay in the sun 50 times longer, because you almost certainly won't have applied the same amount that they do in the tests, and it wears off throughout the day. Basically, what I'm saying is don't treat SPF like a permission slip to bake yourself in the sun. So do you need to apply sunscreen every day? Well, the answer is actually a bit more nuanced than what a lot of the people out there talking about skincare online will let you believe. Cancer Research UK say that once the UV index hits 3 or above, you should protect your skin with SPF. That's mainly about reducing your risk of skin cancer and sunburn. In the UK, the UV levels go above 3 typically from mid-March to mid-October, with UV at its strongest between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. UVA, the aging rays, are around all year and can even get through clouds and pass through windows. Think back to the truck driver that we spoke about earlier. So technically, your skin will experience enhanced photoaging on a cloudy winter day in the UK. But when the UV index is only 1 or 2, the overall amount of UV is much lower, so the damage is happening much more slowly. Personally, I always think that common sense beats fear. I applied daily sunscreen in the morning from mid-March to October, and then reapply regularly when outside or exposed. But for the rest of the year, I'll apply it occasionally if I'm outside a lot. I also think a bit of perspective is important. Aging is ultimately a gift, and it would be a shame to squander that gift by hiding away from the sun. Personally, I love going for runs outside. I like scuba diving in hot countries, hiking, and just being outside in nature. I think nature is awesome. It's brilliant for your mental health, and for me, it's one of life's greatest pleasures. Just like having a pint in a sunny beer garden with some mates. So I refuse to let the fear of aging stop me from doing the things that I love. I just wear sunscreen, reapply when I need to, and chuck on a decent hat with UV protection if I'm going to be out for hours. More often than not, people don't apply enough SPF. A good rule of thumb is you want to apply 2 fingers worth of it. That's 1, 2, like that. I know it looks a bit minging, but that's roughly the amount you want to apply. And you don't want to skip the front and back of your neck. If you've got a bougie SPF, maybe one of the ones I'm going to talk about, or maybe one that's even more expensive, and you're trying to ration it, you're not doing yourself any favors. You want to make sure you're using something you can apply regularly and liberally and are happy to do so. So let's get into the products. I'm judging these on 4 things: how they feel on the skin, how much they cost, whether I'm actually enjoying wearing them, and most importantly, whether I'd happily spend my money on them again. As I've said, I know I'm going to upset a few people with some of the worst SPFs that I mention at the end, but they're behaving so irresponsibly that I can't turn a blind eye, and we as consumers deserve better. I'm going to start with the most affordable and work up. So if budget is your main concern, you're gonna love the first 2. First up, we have got the Sol 1988. Let me see if I can, there we go. The Sol 1988. Now, this is the sunscreen that genuinely made me question why anyone spends 30 or 40 quid on SPF. It comes from a Korean brand called Sol 1988, and you can pick it up online if you shop around for about £6. That's about $7 US. And it's a sunscreen that feels like skincare. It rubs into the skin really easily, and I find it leaves me looking very slightly hydrated and dewy, but definitely not greasy. And for the price, I'm more than okay with that. Not only does it contain next generation UV filters, it also contains niacinamide that brightens pigmentation, helps reduce redness, and strengthens a skin barrier. Now, according to the ingredients list, it also contains some peptides, including copper tripeptide, but my hunch is they're not present in any meaningful quantity. And for the price, I can't see how they can be. But for £6 for 50 ml, I honestly don't care. This is a brilliant and elegant sunscreen. Are there better Korean sunscreens out there? Absolutely, but you can't beat this one for value. Now let's get on to reapplication on the go. And for this, my top pick, and is probably the sunscreen I've reapplied more than any other this year, which probably tells you something, is Skim 1004's. Let me get it in focus if I can. Maybe if I click here. Yeah, there we go. The Skim 1004 no, sorry, it's the Centella Hyla Sika Silky Fit Sunstick. Now, Skim 1004 is, of course, a Korean brand. I've got a few of these stashed in different bags, coats, pockets, because obviously you just click it on like that and it's nice and portable and it can take a bit of a battering. But yeah, so I've got quite a few of these stashed away in bags, coat pockets, in my car. And I find if I'm out and about, they're brilliant. It's a really quick and easy way just to roll it up and reapply and like that. I ordered mine from Stalvana for about £7, about $9 each. But you can pick them up from Superdrug, one of our UK drugstores, for about £15, $18. It's got a really nice silky finish that melts into the skin, and it doesn't leave me looking greasy or shiny. I actually think it's a really inconspicuous way to reapply a bit of SPF or sunscreen when you're out and about. I've used this one quite a bit already. It's just one I grabbed from, I think it was one of my coat pockets. So it's probably not giving you a really full picture, but as you can see, it's quite a wide stick and you get quite a lot of it. And on top of that, it's got good UVA and UVB ratings, and it's much nicer to apply than some of the other SPF sticks out there. I'm sorry to pick on them, but I normally recommend them. So hey, take this one, which is CeraVe's SPF stick, which they released recently. Let me turn it around so you can see it properly. There you go. So this one came out relatively recently, and as I say, it's CeraVe's SPF stick that a lot of people seem to be recommending at the moment, and it's not bad. I paid £11 for this, about $13. But as you can see, look, this is all the way up to the top, and I haven't used this one as much. And you get much less product. And also, when you apply it to the face, it doesn't feel as nice. As I say, the Skin 1004 really feels quite silky and smooth. This one, just you apply it. I mean, it's functional, it works, but it just isn't as nice as this one here. Now, I really like sunscreen sticks, and I think they're great. They're a bit more inconspicuous than splurting a couple of fingers of sunscreen onto yourself and then rubbing it on your face and neck when you're out and about. They're not as messy, but they're also a bit controversial, and you've definitely got to be wary or cautious when using them, because it's so easy to under apply with them. Lab Muffin, who's a cosmetic chemist, made a really interesting video comparing SPF sticks that I've linked down below if you want to go a bit deeper in this topic. But according to her tests, this Skin 1004 stick is one of the better ones, which makes me feel better because I absolutely love it. But even with this one here, you've got to rub it across your face for much longer than you'd think to protect your skin from the sun. As I say, I've linked her video down below, but according to the test she's ran, and I absolutely trust her, you need to apply and rub this on your face for about 2 minutes to get enough protection from the sun, which obviously is a lot longer than a lot of people think. Also, because the feel of these sticks is a bit thicker, it can be a bit misleading where you think you've got enough lotion or stick or SPF or product put onto your face, making you think that you've got the protection from the sun when you don't. I'm definitely still a big fan of this stick and will keep ordering them. And I think it's one of the best ones. But like I say, you just got to be careful. I've got combination skin, and and this stick is brilliant for me. So I would guess it's probably good for most skin types. If budget is still your main concern, those two will do everything you need. But if you've got a bit more to spend, here is where I think things start to get a little bit more interesting. Up next, we have got La Roche-Posay and Phelios. Let me get that one in. I've got a new lens in it. Yeah, there we go. So it's La Roche-Posay's and Phelios. So this is my pick if you're someone who is outside playing sport a lot, or you're someone who sweats a fair bit. Before using it, you're meant to shake it. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic, but yeah, you're meant to shake it, and it's got this little ball bearing that makes a cool sound. And I find when you do that and then I put it on, it sinks into the skin as soon as it's applied, and it doesn't leave you with a greasy look and makes your skin feel slightly more hydrated. This usually goes for around 15 to 18 pounds in the UK, so about 17 to $22 for 50 ml. But it's a brilliant sunscreen and one of my absolute favorites from all different places. So long as you're happy with a chemical sunscreen and the only thing you want from your SPF is to protect you from UV, then I think the only thing you might complain about with this one is the price. If you've tried it and got a different opinion, let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely really interested, but I think this one is absolutely brilliant. It leaves your skin feeling really hydrated afterwards, and honestly, I just find it a joy to use. Personally, I would actually pick this Anthelios over the Sol 1988 6 days of the week, but the La Roche-Posay one is 3 times the price. Now onto your body, and for this I want to call out the Bondi Sands brand in general. I think you can see them now. There we go, they're in focus. So Bondi Sands is my go-to body sunscreen because I just think it does the job and is affordable. I think their face fluid SPF or sunscreen is okay. It's functional more than like a skincare type product, and personally I'd rather use any other SPF that we mention in this video on my face. But I think their everyday lotion, everyday mist, and also the zinc mineral face lotion are great. I picked up 6 of their everyday body lotions for £6 each during their Black Friday sale, and it's my go-to body sunscreen. It takes slightly longer to rub in and leaves the skin looking slightly greasy, so I don't think it's the greatest for my face, but I'm perfectly happy with that when it comes to my body. But I gotta say, £6 during the Black Friday sales was a bloody good deal, because it's usually about £15 at the moment is what I've been looking about if you order it online from their website, and it's a little bit more if you order it from other places. Personally, I find their everyday mist, if you can see that, there we go. Personally, I find this mist, which let me give you a little spritz so you can see it like that, is a little bit heavy when I spray it on my face, and it leaves me looking greasy. But again, I'm okay with that for my body. And for £7 for 193 millilitres, if you or the kids need a top up when you're out and about, it's a great option. It's definitely not the most elegant option, and it's definitely in the functional category, but you don't always need something elegant. Sometimes you just need something functional rather than something which is self-care. And like I said, I think this is a great option for that. I always think the best SPF is the one you wear. But if you've got particularly sensitive skin, rosacea, or there's another reason why you want a mineral sunscreen, Bondi Sands Zinc Mineral Face Lotion is actually, let me get it in focus, there we go. This here, their Mineral Zinc Face Lotion, is hard to beat for the price. I picked it up for £6.50, about $8 for 60 ml, which is an absolute billy bargain for mineral sunscreen. It rubs in really easily. Let me show you here. I'm just going to put a bit on and I'm going to rub it in, and it doesn't leave a white cast. Can you see that? Look, so I'm rubbing it in. Yeah, and it just doesn't leave a white cast at all. I have got to say, because it would be irresponsible if I didn't, that some of these zinc sunscreens got recalled earlier in the year due to some separation issue. I assume that's all fixed now because they're back on the shelves in Superdrug. But yeah, so if you were really conscious about that, or that makes you feel uneasy, maybe go for another one. But like I say, I think it's brilliant. So from Seoul to Paris, we've now got to talk about another exceptional French pharmacy product. It is, of course, Eucerin's oil control. Let me get it here so you can see it by clicking there. It's Eucerin's Oil Control SPF for oily, blemish-prone skin. It's £11 for 50 ml, and if you've got oily skin and you don't want to look greasy when applying SPF, and especially a lot of guys, I don't think we do, this is a great option. As I say, I've got combination skin, so some of my skin is oily, and I find it rubs in easily, and it doesn't leave you looking greasy, and has a really nice matte finish to it. Which brings me onto the beef that I shamelessly teased earlier in the video. This is probably where I'm going to annoy a few people, because I actually think ultraviolet makes brilliant sunscreens. I just don't think they sell them responsibly. And honestly, the way they sell them is actually taking the piss a bit. Ultraviolet is one of those brands that always has the most prominent spots in Space NK and in the skincare sections of luxury skincare shops in London, like Liberty and Harrods. Very fancy, very aspirational. And the products I've tried from them, which are these three here, I genuinely really like. I think their Supreme Screen SPF 50 is one of the best SPFs I've ever tried. I've actually got it in bigger versions of this as well, and it's definitely the best non-Korean SPF to date. It's a really light cream that glides into the skin and leaves it feeling smooth. Their pre-screen reapplication mist, let me give you a little spritz so you can see it like that, is brilliant. And their Future Fluid Mineral Sunscreen is a brilliant mineral SPF. But here's where it all goes wrong. The Supreme Screen is £38 or about $50 for 50 ml. The mist, this one here, is £32 or about $43 for 75 ml. And then, and this is the bit that really pisses me off, they sell a 20 ml version of their Hero Supreme Screen for £15 or about $18. They do this, I think, so people can try it at a lower price point, fall in love with it, and then upgrade to the full size. I assume it's a savvy business move, but it's terrible for the consumer and most importantly for the consumer's skin. 20 ml of SPF is hardly anything. And when you think you receive a small amount of a luxury product like this, especially if you're trying it for the first time, your natural inclination is to ration it. Remember what we talked about earlier about how you need about 2 fingers worth for your face and neck of SPF in the morning, and then you want to apply regularly throughout the day when you're exposed? Well, if you're doing that with this, you would burn through it in no time at all if you're using it properly. And to make things worse, the pump on the 20 ml version dispenses the most pathetically small amount of product I've ever seen from a skincare or an SPF pump. Let me show you. I'm actually going to come up to the camera close. Let me make sure I'm in focus again. I need to sort out this lens, but there you go. So you can see my hand. And I press it once. Oh, and I missed. And it's literally, that's all you get. So that is nowhere near enough. And definitely not enough to give you enough product to help you protect yourself properly. They're selling you with this a luxury SPF experience in a format that almost guarantees you won't use enough of it, which means your skin isn't actually protected. And I find it genuinely disgraceful. As we've said, SPF isn't something you can skimp on. It's the most important product in your routine. And they know that. They just also know that these beautiful little 20 ml products help boost their sales and get people into their ecosystem. Like I say, I really like these ultraviolet products, and they are, for me, one of the best non-Korean SPFs out there. But this needs to stop, and it's really, really shameful. Shame on them. If you like this video, click here to watch my video on the best places to splurge and save when it comes to skincare. That also includes some other top sunscreen recommendations I haven't spoken about here. Thanks, and I'll see you there.